Hey, it's Mike from Hillside Hives. Just want to talk to my autoimmune followers today out in the bee yard because it's rainy, dreary, but you know what? It's January and it's like 45 degrees. I'm going to take it. Get outside even though it's rainy and dreary. It's nice to be outside. I want to talk to my autoimmune followers about sugar today. Continuing on the concept of diet and what I have done with my diet with my Hashimoto's over the past 2 years. So I went over gluten last time, so I want to talk about sugar. So one thing I did immediately when I found out I had Hashimoto's after some research was I eliminated all processed sugars out of my diet. In fact, I actually eliminated complete sugars, except for what I would get in like fruits, for about 3 weeks to a month, and then slowly added them back in. So just talking about sugar is actually broken down into two components called glucose and fructose. Glucose you need for immediate energy as a carbohydrate, and you use that for immediate energy. Fructose actually goes to the liver, where it's broken down and stored as fat in the liver. One of the things that I did when I initially got my initial labs, when I first got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, was have my liver enzymes, which my liver enzymes were slightly elevated, and they said it's probably a fatty liver because of my poor diet, standard American diet, prior to me changing my lifestyle after I had Hashimoto's. So I had a lot of that fructose because I ate a lot of processed sugars, and it broke down into fat and stored it in my liver, plus everywhere else in my body. So that's by elimination of all processed sugars is what I have done. I find that very helpful, and I don't go back to processed sugars. I don't eat any processed sugars whatsoever. I don't eat cakes, pies, puddings, anything. I don't eat anything like that. I do have 3 sugars that I use. I do use honey. As you can see the bees here, I use my own honey that I use. I eat maple syrup. The trees right down here, so I get my own honey, my own maple syrup, all natural, right here, produced right in my land. If you don't have the honey or maple syrup that you produce right on your land, look for your local provider of, like your local beekeeper or your local, what do they call, maple syrup producer, and get local products. The other thing I said is organic sugar. I use an organic sugar only for my water kefir, which is a beverage that I drink that's a probiotic beverage, which I'm going to talk about at a different time. That's a product that I use sugar, the yeast in that actually eats the sugar, and it creates probiotics, which I'll talk about another time. So that's the only sugars I have. Processed food, you really need to eliminate processed food altogether. I know it's a pain in the butt to cook, but I'm going to do another video on that. It really makes it so much worth it. You have to eliminate those processed sugars. Eliminated them now 2 years, down 65 pounds. I think a lot of that's diet. I do exercise a little bit, but mostly it's diet. The other thing about sugars is look at your labels. If you eliminate processed foods, you don't really have to worry about it. But look at the labels. If you're not going to eliminate processed foods, look at every label. Like here, I'm going to do a video on salt. But I look at this iodized salt that we get. There's sugar in salt. Isn't that the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard of? But look at the labels, because for every 4 grams of sugar that's on a label is like 1 teaspoon of sugar. So be very careful. There's a ton of stuff, a ton of sugar and stuff out there. So that's all I wanted to talk about. So hope you liked it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know what you want me to talk about. All right, thanks a lot.